G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wildkard. Thank you for watching the Wildkard Rugby Show. Like, comment and subscribe. And yes, you are here today because the number one ranked team in all of our hearts, the mighty Wallabies, will be playing against the number one ranked team in the Northern Hemisphere under the tutelage of the Lions coach Andy Farrell, and that is the mighty Irish in the world famous rugby arena of the Lansdowne Under Road. Yes, this will be in Dublin, Ireland, and yes, this will be a monumental test match to finish off the November International Test Series. Now, before we begin and talk about the men who are given the absolute privilege to represent their nations in this monumental event of rugby, let's go back in time a little bit. I would like to just go back a little bit and just let everybody a little taste of what it was like to be at Lansdowne Under Road in Dublin, Ireland at the Rugby World Cup in 1991. Ireland scores, thought they won the match. The fans ran onto the field, right? Start hugging the players. Yeah, this guy in the red shirt was shouting abuse. Ah, look at this guy. This guy's shouting abuse to the Wallabies. Oh my goodness. Oh, you know what? Oh, look at this guy. Oh, he's just like, yeah. Take that, you Wallaby. And, before the game is over, Michael Lynagh scores for the Wallabies and wins the match. And this was the beginning, I almost said beginning, the beginning of the curse of the quarterfinal exits for Ireland. I know they were eliminated in the previous Rugby World Cup in the quarterfinals as well, but the first time getting eliminated is just bad luck. The second time at home, oh, that is where the curse begins for the Ireland. So this match this weekend is a lot of pride on the line, and a lot of Irish fans will be licking their chops and wanting to take another belting over the Wallabies for this moment. Over 20 years at this point. But hey, good news for the Irish fans. Michael Lynagh Jr. will not be playing tonight, this weekend. Lucky for you. But the $9 million man, the $9 million man, Joseph Suaalii, will be playing against probably the best center combination in the world in Bundee Aki and what's his name? Not Gary Rimrose. We'll look at him in a minute. Yeah, but so this will be a big test for the Wallaby centers, and I think the Irish has made a massive change for Andy Farrell, and that is the Prendergast has been called into the number 10 jersey ahead of Crowley. So yeah, we'll have to look at how that's going to go for the Irish. Are they underestimating the Wallabies a little bit, or is this just another fly hard being thrown at the grinder, at the meat grinder, as Andy Farrell has done in the past? And to try to really get the team, get that Johnny Sexton feeling back into the Irish side. I don't want to sound too gloomy for the Irish team, but I'm a big fan of Johnny Sexton. A lot of you guys know. And yeah, just ever since he left the team, he just hasn't really felt the same. There's a little bit of, there's a little bit of, maybe a little bit of, there's a little bit of intricacy. There's a little bit of a smoothness. There's a little bit of confidence that is just lacking a little bit out of that 10 jersey. Crowley has been absolutely magnificent 10. I think, the world-class 10, but Johnny Sexton was just the best in the world at the time. So just not quite there, and I think Andy Farrell is really trying to get that feeling back in the 10, and he's very high. He's come out and said, Prendergast has been spectacular in the club rugby, and he's very high on this kid and wanted to give him he had a pretty good performance last week against Fiji, despite a yellow card. Andy Farrell was pretty high on him in going into this match. So with that being said, history has been overall favourite to the Australians, but in recent times has been pretty one-sided to the mighty Irish. Only about one win over the last 2 World Cup cycles, and this is not a good look for the Wallabies. But this is Joe Schmidt, and Joe Schmidt knows the Ireland better than anybody else. In fact, the Ireland this run of dominance started with Joe Schmidt to some extent. And yeah, so if anybody knows how to beat Ireland, it'll be Joe Schmidt. He will know the players, how they like to play, how they like to function inside out. And it'll be Joe Schmidt has talked about this week that he's not going to get a warm welcome back. He's probably going to get the Ronan O'Gara treatment heading into Aviva Stadium. But hey, As the Wallaby fan, we love getting booed. As you know, we love getting booed for watching. We're pretty used to watching our head coach getting booed out of the stadium. We boo our own head coaches all the time. So please boo our head coach. I'm all up for it. And with that being said, the Irish team going into the recent form has been pretty good. Let's have a look at the results. Has been pretty good. They lost to what is this? Yeah, they lost Taiwan in England at Six Nations away. It was last minute drop goal sort of thing. They lost to Springboks away in South Africa and then come back winning that game, which is again really, really good. The probably the most disappointing one to a lot of people and probably less expected was the winner. Was the loss against New Zealand a couple of weeks ago at home. So that's probably something that a lot of these changes and shuffling around Andy Farrell is doing. He's trying to rectify, trying to find that new rhythm that they're looking for in the team to try to bring that team back up to the next level, polishing everybody up, heading into the Six Nations next year. The Wallabies, much worse in their results. Lots of losses. Starting to build a little bit more momentum, beating England. But that was, big, stifle, hitting a brick wall almost last week against Scotland. So this weekend, again, the Wallabies looking to build some of the issues I was having, the penalties, the defense, the rush defense, really need to get up on their face. With Suaalii back, is he gonna get a yellow card for maybe being too egotistic? Too over enthusiastic on some of his tackles. His like rugby league style tackles might get himself in a bit of trouble. We have to see. He's against the best inner combination in the world this weekend. It'll be a big test for the Wallabies, but I'm hoping we don't get flogged too badly. To be really frank with you. The referee is going to be Andrea Piatti from Italy. He's probably the best rugby referee, I guess. Best rugby related product came out of Italy. He's actually quite decent. I think he refereed the URC final last year. Really can't complain too much about his refereeing. It's very, very good, very, very clinical, nothing too over the top sort of thing. And as you would expect from a world class referee, that he might get a little bit of advantage with Ireland because he does referee in the URC, so he will be more used to the style of the the Irish players. We're more used to his style of refereeing going into this weekend. Now, with that being said, the weather in Dublin is going to be probably the 16th player on the field for somebody this weekend. It's going to be rainy. I don't think the Wallabies play well in the rain, but we'll have to see. The international test level is a bit different the way that the Wallabies play. The ball handling has been improved a lot since the start of the season, but again, in the rain, the Wallabies has been definitely better than it was before, but this will be a factor to be considered. I don't think Ireland is probably a bit better in the rain overall because there's more rain in Ireland, and I think that the conditions will favor the Irish a little bit going into the match. Yes, with that being said, let's have a look at the men who are given the privilege to represent their countries for this monumental showdown at Lansdowne Under Road. Yeah, coming in at the front rowers, we've got Andrew Porter, the guy that's been absolute solid for Ireland. He's going to come in at number 1. And we got a huge matchup here this weekend, ladies and gentlemen. We've got Andrew Porter against Tainela Tupou, the Tongan Thor. And this has been the matchup I've been wanting to see all year. And I was hoping, with Tongan Thor being injured last couple of rounds, I was really disappointed that we weren't going to see this. But we will be seeing it. Hopefully, it's going to be, hopefully Lolosio kicks the ball out on the full from the kickoff and get a scrum immediately. And that'll be the dream. That'll be my wet dream coming true. And I want to see Porter against Tupou. The one thing that Porter likes to do is he likes to do a long bind. He grips you by the jersey down here and kind of pulls your hips a little bit out. He try to pull your hip out. And then he try to bore in onto you with that sort of momentum. So watch out for that. And he will try to get under Tupou. But Tupou is one of the best guys at a bit of those dark cards. He likes to bore in himself a little bit as well into the hooker. So I think if Andrew Porter anything bores into Tupou will just follow that into to Ronan Callagher at the hooker position. I don't think that's going to affect Tupou a little bit. Tupou, pretty good technique with his right shoulder, being able to ping down anyone who tries to get underneath the chest. And I don't think Porter's going to get much of a advantage over Tupou. But the one thing that Porter can try to do is go up, and he can try stand the scrum up, and Tupou might get his head popped out first. despite going forward and leading into a penalty. So if you pop your head out first, you get penalized for standing up, essentially. And so that's something I think Porter will try to do instead of boring in, who try to pop two people up. He's trying to go up and pop two people out, and instead of go in and try to get an angle onto the Tongan. So yeah, it'll be interesting how this is gonna go. A very, very huge battle coming up this weekend, and I'm very, very excited for this one. Roland Keller, sorry mate, he's gonna have a bit of a tough time with Tupou pinching in on him. But I think the lineouts will be just fine with him in charge. And Finlay Billam is in, again, with Ty Furlong, not 100%. Finlay Billam has been decent for Ireland team in the tight head position. And he's going up against the veteran from the Wallabies, James Sleeper, coming in number 1. Sleeper has been on and off a little bit for the Wallabies. We'll have to see how he performs this weekend. He's definitely the weak. I think he's definitely the weak compared to Angus Bell. I'm surprised that he's starting a number 1 jersey here. Number 2, Brandon Pangar-Morsa for the Wallabies in the hooker position. Lineout throws have been a bit of an issue last week. Hopefully he's going to fix that up a bit this weekend. Coming in the locks position, now we got Joe McCarthy, kind of number 4, and James Ryan getting number 5 jersey. The stats are wrong here, but there's a different James Ryan. But anyway, so James Ryan coming number 5 for Ireland. For the Wallabies, we've got Nick Frost coming number 4. He came off the bench last week. I thought it was okay. I thought, I thought the big boy, Will Skelton, was doing really well, but we'll have to see. Skelton has been dropped out of the squad completely, maybe because of scheduling. Is it just going to be over November? Is it because the November series period is over? It's not available anymore? But Nick Frost comes in number 4. He's been really good for the Brumbies, really good at stealing lineouts. This will be quite a test for him up against, James Ryan, probably one of the best lineouts operators in the world at the moment. Jeremy Williams was sick last week. He's back at number 5 for the Wallabies. Had kind of missed a bit of that last week from him with him not being available. Coming number 6, Ty Burn, another guy has been just foundation for the Irish team. Breakdown pressure, turnovers, and line out as well. Option is just incredibly good. And just the size of him defensively, really, really impressive in all fronts. He's up in the blind side flanker for Wallabies. Blind side flanker, Rob Valentini, a guy who's been really, I think in terms of defense and running game, Rob Valentini might have a bit of advantage, but in terms of the set piece, I think Ty Burn and breakdown, Ty Burn has a bit of advantage there over Valentini. Josh Van der Fleer comes in number 7 with Fraser McWright returning to number 7 jersey for the Wallabies. Again, Wallabies missing a lot of that breakdown from him. Tazano did really good was really, penalized a couple times last week. I thought it was really energetic last week, but the accuracy just wasn't quite there. Fraser McWright returning helps out a lot for the Wallaby part. And Kalen Doris, a World Rugby Player of the Year nomination, getting the Dream Team at number 8 jersey is probably at top of the game right now in terms of number 8. The physicality, everything he does is brutal, everything he does is physical, and and he has a bit of a mean side about him as well, and something that I think that a very high quality leader, potentially the Lions captain as well going into next year. He's up against Harry Wilson. I think Harry Wilson is Wallabies captain at the moment as well. So 2 captains at number 8 jersey. Harry Wilson, big carries. Really have to look up to Doris a little bit, but Harry Wilson is also really physical. But yeah, he's going to have to step another level up against Kalen Doris. Jameson Gibson Park gets number 9 jersey. He's the kind of like the one who's taken over a lot of the directions in the back line with him at number 9. Decision making as well comes out of the 9 jersey a lot nowadays without Johnny Sexton. Jake Gordon comes in number 9, a bit of a veteran head next to younger players. Both team has opted for this. Sam Prendergast comes in number 10. Like I said, Andy Farrell is pretty hard on him. He plays with Gibson Parks at Leinster, so he's got definitely got someone that he's familiar with next to him who will be helping him out, holding his hands a little bit. I know a lot of CEO has been getting much better defensively, offensively. His kicking game was pretty off last week, but according to a lot of you guys watching this, told me that there was very windy at Murray Field. Maybe that was the reason why the kicking wasn't good. But I thought he had a really off day last week with his kicking game, and he needs to be a lot better this week. And I think that Nola Seal has an opportunity here to show that he's the better 10 out there this weekend. James Lowe comes to number 11, and Max Jorgensen has been getting that number 11 jersey. He's been tremendously well for the Wallabies every time he came off the bench. Impact player, 100%, scoring tries, and the speed that he brings. The only person that I think currently has the speed that Max Jorgensen has is Louis, what's his name? Is it Louis? Bieri, the French winger. And the way that Max Jorgensen was able to just bolt ahead of everybody, kind of reminded me of this incredible speed that Bieri was able to bring for France, last week. So yeah, this will be very interesting to see how he's going to be utilized this week with that speed, that factor. Coming number 12, Bangdiaki, the big physical man. Oh man, this is going to be brutal for the Australians. The defense last week hasn't been good, and Bangdiaki, if he was giving us much space as the Wallabies given to Pelotu last week, he's going to have a wet dream out there. He's going to be thinking, this must be a dream, and just going to be running through gas left and right. So the Wallabies really have to shut him down, give him less, rush defense, give him less options and less space to work with. Len Ikitau gets a 12 jersey once again, making space for Joseph Suaalii, the $9 million man. Had a bit of a stinger last week, Joseph, and he's ready to play. And again, without him last week, without Joseph Suaalii, the defense was definitely a little bit lacking. Obviously, we didn't have a reserve center, so people were playing out of position, so the defense was a bit of an issue there. So hopefully this week with him back in the squad, that's going to be rectified. But yeah, the center combination, Robbie Henshaw, Bangdiaki, absolute world class. Probably the best center combination in the world right now. Maybe the second best to to Irealnd and Jesse Krill. But this is again the style of Irish rugby is center field dominance, center field physicality, and they're going to bring plenty of that. And they have an additional center on the bench as well with Ringrose on the bench, so they're just going to be flooding the defensive efforts of Joseph Suaalii, really testing him. And if Suaalii gets a yellow card or God forbid a red card for a rugby league tackle, it's going to be over. It's going to be ugly. And I think that is the pressure that the Irish team wants to put on him, make him make a lot of tackles, and hopefully, hoping that he make one of those mistakes and get himself sent off, and really going to test him this weekend. So yeah, I've talked a lot of shit about Suaalii. If he survives this weekend with a good performance, I would change my opinion. It will help me change my opinion about his current state of performance quite a lot. So I'm looking forward for him to really take another step against against this really, really, really targeted setup at the center position from the Irish side. Mac Henson comes in number 14 for Ireland. Andrew Callaway number 14 for the Wallabies. Both play quite good in running game, and I think both players are probably not that great. I think Andrew Callaway defensively probably a little bit lacking a little bit. Definitely a lot better than start of the season. But last week, some of the defensive stuff is starting to show a little bit. Hugo Kinning coming number 15 for Ireland, who's been absolutely spectacular. And Tom Wright has been building better and better every week out of the fullback position for the Wallabies there himself. Coming at the reserves now for the Irish, Gus McCarthy gets the number 16 jersey. Billy Pollard gets number 16 for the Wallabies. Number 17, the veteran Cian Healy. Apparently, Healy was on the field when O'Driscoll played his 100th test against the Wallabies, decades ago, when there was a draw. I think it was 2020 draw. So Cian Healy was a survivor from that match, still here against the Wallabies. Angus Bell is on the bench. Like I said, I thought Angus Bell should be starting over Angus Bell should be starting over what's his name? Over James Slipper. I think that's probably a bit of interesting setup, to say the least. I'm not going to say it's a bad setup, because Joe Schmidt has a bit of a game plan. So I think that he may wanted to exploit the bench a little bit with Angus Bell, with that power coming off the bench. Tom O'Toole comes in number 18 for the Irish, and Alan Alatoa was spectacular against Schumann last week in Scotland, and gets the bench. So I think that the idea here is loading up the bench a little bit to put a bit more pressure on the reserves, because Cian Healy only going to play maybe 10 minutes off the bench. He's not going to play that much, so maybe they can catch the tired starting players, or the veteran maybe off guard a little bit with the youngsters coming off the bench, potentially getting a few penalties there. Ian Henderson comes number 19 for Ireland. Luke Msalaka-Lotu, the Wallabies, have been really good coming off the bench at 19. Peter Romani comes in number 20 for Ireland, and Langi Gleeson 20 for the Wallabies. Number 21, Craig Casey for Ireland. Tate McDermott, hopefully no stupid kicking from him this weekend. Number 22, Jack Crowley gets off the bench. And Tane Edmund, who's been playing a little bit of NPC in New Zealand, has been getting the nod at the Wallabies for his debut. Potentially this weekend. What a wonderful moment for him. He's been worked really hard. His father was a rugby league player, and he's been at the Waratahs for quite a bit. And yeah, he's been working pretty hard behind the scenes to try to get himself up to the next level. And you know, the fact that he's taken time off to play in the NPC just to get more game time shows that he's determined to be somebody in the world of rugby, and good to see him here. Number 23, Gary Ringrose. Like I said, Ireland has loaded up the bench with an additional centre to put more pressure on Suaalii, and the Wallabies with another, the wizard, the boy who scored last week, Harry Potter, comes in number 23 for the Wallabies. Yeah, this will be hard to decide if if Prendergast don't get too pressured, and if Suaalii falls apart, I think there could be a tough day for the Wallabies. To be fair, I think that the Irish, will win this one, and yeah, I think the Irish will win this one, 35 points to 18. Yeah, let me know your thoughts, guys. Like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys this weekend for the review, and have a good one, and enjoy yourselves. Cheers.